if someone is stronger and was born that way is able to compete against people that are not as strong because they're born that way, wouldn't that be the textbook definition of cheating?
I don't know about that one. I'm gonna step away.
Charlie Kirk just destroyed woke culture in Hollywood. The conservative firebrand, known for his sharp critiques and unyielding stance on traditional values, has taken aim at what he perceives as the pervasive and damaging influence of woke ideology within the entertainment industry. His recent remarks have sent shockwaves through Hollywood and sparked a fiery debate about the direction and integrity of contemporary culture. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more exclusive news. Kirk's criticism hinges on the argument that Hollywood, long considered a bastion of liberal thought, has allowed itself to be overtaken by an extreme form of political correctness. He argues that this shift towards wokeness has not only compromised artistic integrity, but has also alienated a significant portion of the American audience. In his view, the relentless pursuit of inclusivity and representation has overshadowed the primary purpose of entertainment: to tell compelling stories that resonate universally. In his blistering critique, Kirk highlighted several high-profile examples of what he sees as the detrimental impact of woke culture on Hollywood. He pointed to the recent trend of reimagining classic characters and stories to fit modern sensibilities, often at the expense of the original narratives and the audiences that loved them. This, he argues, is a form of cultural erasure that prioritizes ideological conformity over creative expression. Kirk's attack on Hollywood's woke culture is not just a solitary rant, but a reflection of a growing sentiment among conservative circles. Many believe that the entertainment industry has become a mouthpiece for progressive politics, pushing an agenda that does not necessarily align with the values of the broader American populace. This has led to a perceived disconnect between Hollywood elites and their audience, a gap that Kirk is more than happy to exploit. The reactions within Hollywood have been predictably polarized. Supporters of Kirk's stance argue that the entertainment industry has indeed lost its way, becoming more concerned with virtue signaling than with producing quality content. They claim that the industry's obsession with diversity and inclusion has led to a homogenization of ideas, stifling creativity, and resulting in a slew of uninspired and politically charged productions that fail to engage viewers on a deeper level. On the other side of the debate, defenders of Hollywood's embrace of woke culture argue that the industry is finally addressing long-standing issues of representation and inclusivity. They assert that the changes being implemented are necessary for creating a more equitable and just society, where all voices and stories are given the platform they deserve. For these proponents, the push towards a more woke Hollywood is a positive evolution, one that reflects the progressive values of a modern society. Among those voicing their support for Kirk, some have pointed to the decline in box office revenues and television ratings as evidence of Hollywood's failing strategy. They argue that the industry's turn towards woke culture has alienated a significant portion of the audience who feel that their values and preferences are being ignored. This, they contend, is not only bad for business, but also indicative of a broader cultural malaise. However, critics of Kirk's position argue that attributing the decline in viewership solely to woke culture is overly simplistic. They point to a myriad of factors that have contributed to these trends, including the rise of streaming services, changes in consumer behavior, and the global impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. For them, the issues facing Hollywood are complex and multifaceted, and cannot be reduced to a mere ideological clash. One of the more interesting aspects of Kirk's critique is his focus on the impact of woke culture on storytelling itself. He argues that the drive for inclusivity has led to the creation of characters and narratives that are often one-dimensional and unconvincing. In his view, this has resulted in a form of tokenism that does little to advance genuine representation and instead serves to placate certain audiences while alienating others. Hollywood's response to this critique has been varied. Some creators and industry insiders acknowledge that there is room for improvement in how stories are told and characters are developed. They concede that in the rush to meet diversity quotas, there may have been instances where the quality of storytelling has suffered. However, they also argue that this is part of a learning process, and that the industry is committed to finding a balance between inclusivity and compelling narratives. Others in Hollywood are more defensive, rejecting Kirk's critique outright. They argue that the industry is finally making strides in areas that have been neglected for far too long, and that these efforts should be celebrated, not condemned. For these individuals, the backlash against woke culture is seen as a reactionary response to the necessary changes that are taking place. Kirk's critique also touches on the impact of woke culture on Hollywood's international appeal. He argues that by prioritizing progressive values that may not resonate globally, the industry is limiting its potential audience. This, he suggests, could have long-term consequences for Hollywood's dominance in the global entertainment market. In response, defenders of woke culture argue that the push for greater diversity and representation is not just a domestic issue, but a global one. They point out that audiences around the world are becoming more diverse and that there is a growing demand for stories that reflect this diversity. For them, Hollywood's efforts to be more inclusive are a way of staying relevant in an increasingly globalized world. Kirk's attack on woke culture in Hollywood has also sparked a broader conversation about the role of the entertainment industry in shaping societal values. He argues that Hollywood has an outsized influence on public perception, and that its turn towards woke culture is part of a larger attempt to reshape society in a progressive image. This, he suggests, is a form of cultural engineering that undermines traditional values and norms. Supporters of Kirk's view argue that Hollywood's influence is indeed significant, and that the industry has a responsibility to be mindful of the messages it sends. They believe that by promoting progressive values, Hollywood is contributing to a cultural shift that is at odds with the values held by many Americans. For them, Kirk's critique is a necessary wake-up call that highlights the need for a more balanced approach to storytelling. Opponents of Kirk's position argue that the entertainment industry has always been a reflection of the broader societal values and that its current direction is simply a response to changing times. They believe that Hollywood's embrace of woke culture is a natural evolution that aligns with the progressive values of a modern society. For them, the industry's efforts to be more inclusive and diverse are a positive step towards a more just and equitable world. The debate over woke culture in Hollywood is likely to continue for some time, with both sides presenting compelling arguments. Kirk's critique has certainly added fuel to the fire, prompting a reevaluation of the direction and priorities of the entertainment industry. Whether or not Hollywood will heed his call for a return to traditional values remains to be seen. But what is clear is that the conversation about the role of woke culture in entertainment is far from over. In the meantime, Kirk's supporters continue to champion his cause, arguing that the fight against woke culture is a battle for the soul of American entertainment. They believe that by standing up to what they see as the excesses of political correctness, they are defending the integrity of storytelling and ensuring that Hollywood remains a place where creativity and artistic expression can thrive. On the other side, defenders of woke culture are equally passionate, arguing that the changes taking place in Hollywood are necessary and long overdue. They believe that by embracing diversity and inclusivity, the industry is finally beginning to reflect the reality of the world we live in. For them, the push towards a more woke Hollywood is a positive step forward, one that should be celebrated and supported. As the debate rages on, one thing is clear. Charlie Kirk has managed to ignite a conversation that cuts to the heart of contemporary culture. His critique of woke culture in Hollywood has resonated with many, sparking a broader discussion about the values and priorities of the entertainment industry. Whether or not this will lead to significant changes remains to be seen, but what is certain is that the conversation about the role of woke culture in Hollywood is far from over. Kirk's impact on this debate extends beyond just Hollywood. His critique has also resonated within other cultural arenas, prompting discussions about the influence of woke culture in areas such as academia, media, and corporate America. Many see his comments as part of a broader conservative pushback against what they perceive as the overreach of progressive ideology in various aspects of society. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, could you leave your comments below and tell us, do you support Charlie Kirk's stance against woke culture? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.